this Friday, the 15th of September, Picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use the code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on football. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code SGP. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use the promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app. Use the promo code SGPN. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the Underdog Pick'em in college or NFL and win up to 20x in one game. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports bet research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use the code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, September the 14th. We have a full card, which we're going to cherry pick the good stuff from for September the 15th, Friday. And joining me, looking resplendent in his Nottingham Forest, I'm going to say uniform because I'm fully American now, is Mr. Dylan Rockford. Dylan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. A little better than the other day. I was still somber in the news, but today I'm much better. Got a good week. 2-0 my bets today. We got a bunch of football this weekend, and then Monday, we're gonna play Burnley. So gotta rep the Forest jersey today.
Oh, I forgot how sad you were on Tuesday. It was proper funny.
Real quick, have you been to the City Ground?
I have been to the City Ground, yes.
How is it?
It's lovely. It's old-fashioned. It's right in the city. It's on the river, down on the River Trent there in Nottingham, mate. And it's a good experience. Yeah, it's one of those old-school city centre football stadiums. Proper good atmosphere. Yeah.
Got to make it there one day.
Mate, get over. Mr. Scott Reichel is here. Scott, how are you?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Sweating out the first 5 under in this Diamondbacks game, so we'll see what happens. But so far, knock on wood, so good. We'll see what happens. But besides that, my Yankees ended up not playing yesterday, and I said that once again they're winning, but they can't score. And they didn't score. They got shut out today. So, this team cannot hit the ball.
I'm going to have a little talk through some of my baseball stuff because it's been a bit of a head-scratcher over the last couple of weeks. But I did just tell you two boys off air that I needed to tell you about the bet of a lifetime that my friend turned me on to today. Just say hello to Trev, who was first in. Randy is joined as well. Dylan O'Donnell. I haven't seen Dylan for a couple of weeks. Dylan, hey, how you doing? So I've got a mate of mine who is an expert on the dog racing at Newcastle. This is not the bet he gave me. So we haven't got there yet, Scott. He's absolutely unbelievable. The dog track's only about a mile away. Love it. I used to bunk off school when I was like 14. Me and my mate would nick off school and take like 15 quid down there and just bet the dogs on a Tuesday afternoon and stuff. And he's absolutely brilliant. However, he messaged me today and he said, "Have you got a Unibet account?" So Unibet is a little local book here. And I think I had one years ago. I didn't have one anymore. He said, I need to get a bet on. He can't get a bet on many places. He's so good. He said, I need to get a bet on the chess this afternoon. And sorry? See, I need to get a bet on the chess match between Nakamura and Caruana. And apparently they play bullet chess. Do you know much about this, Scott? You look like you must play chess. I've got no hope Dylan's
I would probably take
Nakamura.
I would probably take Nakamura if I had to pick one. But
well, he said they play 8 5-minute games, they play 8 3-minute games, and then they played 11 or 10 1-minute games.
Is there an Armageddon after that? I'm familiar with chess. I follow chess.
Yeah. The shorter the format, the better Nakamura is, apparently.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I assumed you wanted Nakamura. Yeah. Okay.
So the handicap was at 3.5. He said he'll hammer him. Absolutely hammer him. So he's sort of minus 110. Nakamura given 3.5 games. It finished 18.5 to 8.5. So he won by 10 games when the handicap was at 3.5. I mean, people just handing someone phones me up and hands me this stupid information about chess bets, and I couldn't get. I didn't have the account, and I was going out to kids' football.
I can't say that I'm truly updated on when the players are playing, but I know that Magnus Carlsen's usually the best, but I know he's kind of taken some time away, but he's back. I think Hikaru is the second best, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that he's arguably better at bullet. So I'm not shocked that he'd beat Caruana comfortably.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, it was weird to me how the different formats would make such a difference, because you kind of think chess is chess, but obviously you've got your full length game, and then you've got the various.
Well, if you try to play a game of chess and then you put 1 minute on the clock, you can tell that it's a different game if you do it.
It just makes sense. But for Phil to know that and read it and cover the handicap by 7 games, just an outstanding bit of tipping from my mate, who's normally so good on the dogs. So I enjoyed that this afternoon. That was funny. The baseball wise, my picks, right? On tally side, I've still been putting my picks in every day. Absolutely horrible. I think I'm 10-25 on the week. Really, really struggling. But I think at this time of the season, it's the volume that's killing me. Because actually, now I'm not betting all of those. We pick every game on tally site. I'm not picking them all. As we said yesterday, we did the show, Scott. I took Taj Bradley to do some stuff, was okay. I then took Colorado. That was absolutely fine. My last 8 dogs have gone 6-1-1. So I'm absolutely flying with my dogs, but it's just a really weird time of year. And I think we've kind of made the right decision to cherry pick stuff around the league, because there's certain teams. I've had to put the Chicago White Sox completely on the no bet list. We spoke about them a little bit yesterday, Scott, with a crazy ding-dong game against Kansas City. And then yesterday, well, they just got turned over by, did Jordan Lyles beat them yesterday, I think? 7-1. Them along with the LA Angels and the amount of teams now who are just having to go on the no bet list. Because they're untrustworthy, but also uninterested. It is the volume that kills you at this time of year in MLB for me. So, interesting stuff. Tomorrow, then, we've taken there's 9 games that are with various degrees of playoff relevance, and we will start with let me get the right page up because I've got today's scores. Are the Mets still? Is that first 5 under still hanging on, Scott?
It's 2-0 in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, we're all right with that. We're going to start at 6:40 Eastern first pitch, which is the Atlanta Braves at the Miami Marlins, where we have Bryce Elder going for the Braves and Johnny Cueto takes the ball for the Marlins. The Braves are -176. The Marlins are +164, and the total is set at 9. This was a dream to handicap. When there's so many stats that could just point you in one direction. This was almost like a school exam where they set you down, handicap this game, and there is a correct answer to this. And the more clues you look at, it was like choose your own adventure. Bryce Elder is 12-4 on the year, has a 3.38 ERA. Atlanta clinched last night, 6th straight title in a row. Pretty impressive stuff. The Mets are getting very close to them, Dylan. And Elder is going along great. He had a few bumps in the road midsummer. And I thought he might sort of disappear off the radar a little bit. And he's absolutely done the exact opposite. He's come back really strong. He has a 2.92 ERA in his last 5 starts. The Braves have won all 5, and they've covered in 4 of those 5. Johnny Cueto is 1-4 on the year. He has a 6.15 ERA, and he really sucks quite hard, Johnny Cueto, at the moment. Minimum 3 earned runs, often more. However, the key to this game, man, the season series is 9-1 in favour of Atlanta, and they've covered in all 9. Once you're in possession of those facts, you can stop looking, because that'll do you. Atlanta on the run line are -1-1-1 for an outcome which they're currently sitting at 9-1 on the season. So I didn't see why I needed to complicate it any further, Dylan.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're getting a -111 on the run line, I do like that. I'm going to do something that might not be as popular. I'm going to take the under 9. I got it at plus money. This one, like you said, this one was a tough game to handicap. Braves clinched the division last year. Odd that Philly put it on their Jumbotron. Congratulations. I thought that was kind of weird, but they're coasting into the playoffs, and I don't really want to lay almost $2 with them. They're minus 177 right now. I only made the Braves a minus 180 favorite. Like I said, my total 8.7, I made it. Bryce Elder, like you said, he's looked really good in his last 5 games. He's only given up more than 2 runs one time in that 5-game stretch. My worry is Johnny Cueto in this game. He hasn't looked good in Miami all year. But I think since the Braves have already won the division, they might take their foot off the gas just a little. And if they do, I think this game does have a good chance to go under. Went under last night 4-1. So I think we see a lower scoring game, but I do think the Braves win maybe 5-1, 6-1 type of game. But yeah, I'm going to go under.
So that's the one thing I haven't factored in. Is this a thing that happens in baseball where Atlanta will all have gone out? Because they've got a day off today, I think. Will everyone have got out and got pissed today, and will they be turning up drunk tomorrow, Scott? Is that a thing that would happen?
Well, that was the annoying part, because initially you don't get many champagne fades over the course of an MLB season. So I was actually looking to fade Atlanta, but then I saw they weren't playing today. And they should be able to recover from the hangover at some point today. So I think I'm going to lean to Atlanta here. If they were playing this game today, I probably would have considered Miami, but they're not. So with Atlanta having a day off in between to recover after getting just completely drunk over the last couple of hours, I am going to go with Atlanta. I like them on the run line. Miami played today as well in Milwaukee, so there is some travel involved. But I do think, looking at the spot, Atlanta, once again, is the much better team. Cueto is still in the league, which is an achievement for him because he's not very good. But I am going to go with Atlanta to get the job done by multiple runs.
Is champagne fade, is that an often used term? I love that.
I kind of made it up, but that's
I've never heard it.
The principle's there. I don't know if people have ever said that before. Get a T-shirt up. I don't know.
It's an excellent name for a band, Scott.
Yeah,
it's a top draw name for a band. I'd go and watch Champagne Fade, no problem. Football is back tonight. I was trying to get some Jalen Hurts information off YouTube, and you both completely and utterly blew me out the water earlier.
You're welcome.
So I'll find something else to back tonight. And when I've done that, I'll do it at DraftKings Sportsbook, if I was allowed in this country. An official sports betting partner of the NFL. If you bet $5, you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. And new customers, that is, existing customers aren't missing out on the action too. You get 2 new offers every game day this September. So get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app, use the code SGP to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code SGP. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, see DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. And game time, the ticket people, you can buy tickets for your favourite events without it being as stressful as it very often is. Game time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theatre near you. You get flash deals, last-minute tickets. It's easy to find and buy tickets for any kind of event. So you can forget planning in advance. Game time has deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy. And the game time guarantee means they will credit you 110% of the difference of if you find a ticket in the same section and row for less. So the thing to do here is download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Okay, next up is a 7:05 Eastern first pitch. It's the Tampa Bay Rays at the Baltimore Orioles, big series. Zach Eflin for Tampa Bay and Jack Flaherty for Baltimore. It's minus 116 on the Rays, plus 102 on the Orioles. Total is 8.5, Scott.
I'm just going to go with Tampa in this one. I'm not a Flaherty guy. He has not exactly been great since he was acquired by Baltimore. Maybe it's a bit of an overreaction to what happened over the last couple of nights, but we know even the best offenses can go through some slumps over the course of the season. Baltimore has been brutal offensively against some really bad pitchers. They couldn't hit Wainwright and they couldn't hit Rom. And they had a lot of guys on base. They just couldn't get any big hits. They really lost 1-0. to Rom yesterday. 1-0? Really? I'm going to go with Tampa. I do think Eflin's the pitcher in better form right now, but it's mostly based on the fact that Baltimore, even though I do want them to win the division, I have to at least point out offensively they are in the middle of a lull. I'll go with Tampa at a short money line price.
Tampa for Scott. What you got, Dylan?
Yeah, this game was very tricky as well. It was kind of a wait and see where the lines move because I did make the Rays a -110 favorite. So when I saw it, I do see plus 105s out there. So if we could get 5 more cents with the Orioles, I might take a stab with them. I don't know if I'll get to the window. Scott's right. Jack Flaherty hasn't looked good since coming over to Baltimore. But because this lineup is so good, he does have the ability to get a few runs behind him. And I think he gets away with it sometimes, not being the best. But yeah, getting 0 runs. I think they got 2 runs the other night against Wainwright. But then the game before they got 11 against the Red Sox, they got 13. So it is a 2-game stretch where they have struggled, but both teams are 7-3, playing really well. Eflin did struggle last time he faced Baltimore. Orioles 6-3 straight up against the Rays this season. So they've kind of not owned them, but they've kind of had their number. I just trust the bats at home a little more. So I would lean with the home puppy here.
Okay, so to split the tie, I am going to side with Scott and the Tampa Bay Rays. Eflin has been good lately, and in his 2 games so far against the Orioles. I've watched the Orioles a couple of times. They've cost me, actually. So I might be talking through my pocket a little bit. But yeah, they've scored 0, 2, and 3 in 3 of their last 4. Some news and note, the Baltimore have called up Heston Kjerstad, who is their 3rd ranked prospect, but 24th MLB pipeline. He's hitting 298 at AAA. He's played at 2 levels this year, 21 homers and 29 doubles. So he sounds like another one of those fun Baltimore players just to stick right in the middle of that lineup. So that's an interesting one. But yeah, Baltimore just picked a bad time, really, just to have a little slump. This is a big series. It'll be a good series. But I do like the way Tampa Bay have just held their nerve. I said that last night. They just seem, they're not wavering very far from the mean at the moment, Tampa Bay. And it's quite impressive to watch. So yeah, I'll take the Rays here at -116. 7:07 Eastern first pitch is the Boston Red Sox at the Toronto Blue Jays. Brian Bello for the Red Sox and Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays. +114 Boston, -132 Toronto. Total is 8, or you can have it 8.5 if you fancy that. Dylan.
Yeah, give me the Blue Jays here on the money line at home, -130. I made them a -150 with Jose Barrios on the mound. I just can't back the Red Sox right now. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. They did win today, but I just don't think they're not making the playoffs. They just fired their chief baseball officer today. By the way, he's been there over 15 years, and during that stretch, they won 4 World Series, and their payrolls in those years, second, first, and third. So over the last 4 years, they've been under the CBT 3 times, and their payroll is 11th. So I don't understand how this is the GM's fault, but I don't know why he was fired. But back to the game, I just think the Blue Jays are just a much better team right now, especially I think they have the pitching advantage with Jose Barrios over Brian Bello. We like backing him at home than on the road, and I do think he's been pitching a little better than Bello right now. So I kind of think the Red Sox have kind of checked out of the season so far. So I'll take the Blue Jays here at home -130.
Okay. Scott?
I'm going to go with the Red Sox. I can't trust Toronto. The Red Sox, I am aware, have not exactly been playing great baseball lately, but I want nothing to do with Toronto. They had their most important series of the year against Texas. Garcia's injured for Texas, and they no-showed the first couple games of the series. I don't want anything to do with Toronto. I just think that Toronto is a team that when things get tough, they fold. And I do think that every now and then you see a team in September with a shot to make the playoffs, and they roll over. And it looks like Toronto's a team that's going to roll over. So I don't want anything to do with them. I'll take Boston. I think actually salvaging a game in this Yankee series helps. I know Mal and I talked about how the Red Sox were, I think, 0 for 19 with run and scoring position in that doubleheader. Right. So they're getting guys on base. They just couldn't really come through. But it's mostly just based on Toronto's recent form. I want nothing to do with them because them no-showing the most important series, a home series against the team you're competing with for a wild card spot, and you get buried in the first couple games, I'm out. I'd rather go ahead and take the Red Sox at plus money.
this is the second game running. I've had the casting vote then, and this is the second game running. I'm coming down on the side of Scott. I don't want anything to do with the Blue Jays. They're absolutely ridiculous. Mentally, the Blue Jays are soft as shit. Absolutely ridiculous. Vladdy swing's broken. How many times this season, they're just inventing ways to be non-competitive? This has been a horrible, horrible week for the Blue Jays. Boston, not a huge fan at the moment of taking teams who haven't got a lot to play for. However, I just can't take Barrios. Bello has eased off a little bit. He had a really good run earlier on. He's reliable. He looks tired as well. We talked about, I think it was Josiah Gray, actually pitched all right tonight. He looked tired, 140 odd innings. Bello, 142 innings, and he looks like he's ready for a break now as well. Barrios is just a little bit there, but I can't do the Blue Jays. I just absolutely can't. Johnny Junta, who is our Blue Jays correspondent, comes on the show once or twice a year. He actually joined us on the Premier League show in the chat last night. He cracks me up on Twitter on a daily basis, but he was so angry with the Blue Jays this week. It's been funny to watch. So I will take the Boston Red Sox. Where are we going? 7:10 Eastern first pitches. The Cincinnati Reds at the New York Mets. Hunter Green for Cincinnati and David Peterson, left-handed pitcher for the Mets. The Mets are minus 102 at home. Green is minus 108 for the Reds, and the total is set at 8. Dylan, those New York Mets. Tight one, this.
Yeah, give me the Mets here at home at even money. I actually made them a minus 115 favorite. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. They're winning here today. They're actually finally able to score some runs. And, I think they will be able to get a few here off of Hunter Green. Green has had 2 good back-to-back starts, but I think we'll see some regression from him. And as bad as the Mets have been this season, they are still a tough out at home. So should be a low-scoring game. I got my total around 8.1. Should be a close one, but I am going to back David Peterson. I never thought I'd say that, but give me the Mets here at home.
Okay, so it's the Mets this time for Dylan Scott.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the Mets as well. Just looking at Peterson's numbers, I don't think he's a great pitcher, but recently he's been okay. He's kind of been alternating between good and bad starts. But you're looking at Hunter Green, and I've said this several times on the show, I don't think Hunter Green is good. I think that he's a high strikeout guy with good stuff who gives up a bunch of home runs and a bunch of runs. I don't think he's a very effective pitcher, and I think that, once again, people like him because of either strikeout props or because of the fact that he has potential with how young he is. He's just not that effective. I don't think he's very good. I'll take the Mets.
Team right. I really struggle to
Am I too harsh on Green, by the way? Or do you
Not at all. That's exactly how I see it.
I quite like him. But as we all know, I'm a sucker for a bit of a gimmicky player. And kind of, like you've said, Hunter Green has those couple of gimmicks, Scott, that you point out. But that gets me every time. And it's not just in baseball. Any sort of player who's a little bit gimmicky in any sport, I find them easy to root for. My notes here say I will take whichever team are a better price. Because I couldn't split them. I thought it was absolutely heads or tails. So if I was getting a bigger price with one, as it happens, I'm getting plus 100, which for heads or tails seems pretty accurate. Cincinnati need Hunter Green to go well. They need the cards to fall in their favour for them to be able to get wins at the moment. Cincinnati still a bit of a struggle. They're hanging on in there. He has had 2 scoreless, but the Mets are just playing with a little bit more spring in their step lately. And Dylan made a very, very good point, which is they're good at home. They're still above 500 at home. They're winning again tonight. Looks like a similar comp game for me. We'll take the Mets team right plus
Scott,
100.
Real quick, you just literally described all my friends who are player props. They love Hunter Green just because he gets a lot of strikeouts, but he's actually really. I don't think he's a good pitcher. So, but yeah,
I mean, it's really the issue you run into now with player props, either in football or in basketball, where I don't want to compare Hunter Green to Justin Fields. But people think Justin Fields is good solely because rushing touchdowns count as 6 fantasy points, and he's not actually a good quarterback. But people think he's good because he gets them fantasy points.
Oh, that broke my heart, that comparison. All right.
Is that a fair comparison or no?
I think there's a little more upside to Justin Fields.
I think there is too, but I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to think of a better comp, but because it's also comparing different sports, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People have an opinion about a player that's more positive than it should be because you can bet on specific aspects of their game while ignoring every other flaw that they have. And that's kind of how I feel about Hunter Green.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's fair.
Even I know that Justin Fields is shit.
Oh, he can run. So people love him because he runs a lot.
Yeah.
That's the point. You ignore all the passing stuff and you just bet the run props.
That's one of the things we're just looking at box scores. Like, unless you, this is why I have to try and find time to watch game recaps, condensed games, as much as possible. Because you get into a box score and you don't get the eye test. As much as you can look at stats and facts and figures and boxes all day, at some point, your handicap has to be what you've seen, what you've watched. And I'm so much better. I 100% think, I haven't tracked this, I'm better at East Coast teams. Like the Padres and the Mariners, I struggle a bit because I haven't seen them as much. And I can watch a team and I can watch them get beat, but know they're doing the fundamentals well. So I definitely think that's a thing. TVDBJ saying I must be a huge Taysom Hill fan. He's absolutely right. Yes, absolutely I am. Yeah. Swiss Army knife of a player, right up my street. Where are we going? Hall of Fame bets is where we're going. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame bets. Revolutionary parlay optimizer tool. You get hit rates broken down by leg, expected probabilities. You can sort players by hit rate for bets to find the best value. Over 30,000 users are researching with Hall of Fame bets. So download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use the code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. And finally, this evening, Underdog Fantasy. A great way to play alongside your favourite football team all season long is the Pick'em game. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It is a fantasy game, but you can win real money. Special promotion this week, giving away $100,000. All you have to do is make a Pick'em selection that includes 2 as passing yards, 277.5, higher or lower. Underdog is going to select 10 random winners to give out 10K each to. So watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign in with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. Next up is a 7:10 Eastern first pitch between the Texas Rangers and the Cleveland Guardians. Texas officially TBD. I have John Gray, I think it will be, going for Texas. And Lucas Giolito is confirmed for Cleveland. I haven't seen any lines. Dylan, have you seen any? And if not,
Giolito's still in the league? They haven't tossed him yet?
Oh, he's in the league, yeah.
Was this his third or fourth team this year? Has to be, right?
I'm surprised they still have him. He's been terrible
the
with
last
Cleveland.
6 weeks. Did you make any lines on this, Dylan? What did you guesstimate this might be?
I mean, I won't take long. I made the Rangers a minus 180 favorite, minus 1.5 plus 105 reverse. And then for the total, I made it 9.4. So, I mean, the Rangers have kind of turned it around. I feel like they've won 5 in a row, big series against the Blue Jays. They won 6-4 in their last 10. And Lucas Giolito he's just a fade. No matter where he goes, whether he's with the Angels, he's been bad. With Cleveland in his 2 starts, he was bad. He gave up 9 runs to the Twins. They lost 20-6 that game. And John Gray might not be the best starting pitcher for them, but he has actually been better on the road. He's already beaten this Cleveland Guardian team 12-4, only gave up 4 runs in 6 innings in that thing. And I just think it comes down to the bats. Who do we really trust? I think the bats have really woken up for the Rangers. So depending if we could get a plus price with the run line, I'm going to be all over Texas here.
Yeah, you're right. John Gray hasn't been great, especially lately. He's given up 3, 3, 3, and 5 in his last 5. Only went 2 2/3 last time against Oakland. So he's been properly wobbling. Texas have scored enough runs to get him out the shit and win his last 3 starts. Giolito, I've written down, I do make myself laugh. He sucks harder than Johnny Cueto, which is quite impressive. 18 earned runs in his last 3 games started in 15 and 2/3. He's walked 7. He's given up 3 home runs in his last 3 starts. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That might be a world record. Texas got absolutely rolling. So Texas on the run line. And if it's an over, I mean, Dylan, you said a number of 9.4, but this has got to go over. Texas will win this 8-4 is what's going to happen. So we'll take over 11.5 on the alt line too, Scott.
I'm going to go with Texas, just simply put. Cleveland is a team that has nothing to play for, and after they rolled over and choked away a massive lead against the Giants yesterday, I want nothing to do with that team. Giolito's also one of the worst starting pitchers in the league so far this season. He's not Wainwright bad or Urena bad or maybe Chase Anderson, maybe, but he's up there. He's really bad.
There.
But or Jordan Lyles or Zach Greinke, but he's up there. Point is, I do think looking at this actual matchup, I am going to go with Texas. Garcia got hurt, and unlike Toronto, they showed up for a big series, and I do like the current form they're in. They're playing good baseball, and once again, Cleveland had a shot to, I don't remember if they were going to sweep the Giants, but they had a shot to win that series, and they completely punted away the game yesterday. I'm going to go with the Rangers here, probably on the run line. Giolito's really bad. It's really as simple as that. I'll take the Rangers.
Did we talk about yesterday? Did you boys talk about Scherzer being done for the season?
We did.
We talked about it briefly, but to be honest, he wasn't really doing much with Texas anyway. But
yeah, I mean, I don't want to cheer for someone to get hurt.
You trade him.
I just want to. I had a nice little chuckle when the report came out that
Mets won a trade.
Yeah, we won a trade.
You can celebrate if you want.
Yeah, and you know what? He talked.
You can't sit there on Tuesday and cry because Aaron Rodgers hurt himself, and then about to celebrate because Scherzer hurt himself.
That's guy
despicable behavior.
This guy purposely ruined our chances. He was shit for us. Yes,
but on purpose.
On purpose. Him and Buster Olney.
Maybe Aaron Rodgers did that on purpose. Did you ever think of that?
No, don't say
that. Exactly. Have you worn your Forest shirt out in public yet, Dylan? Has anyone stopped or mentioned it to you?
I have twice. No one knows where Nottingham Forest is, which is the sad part. But, a little geographic. Geographic.
By the way, the first 5 under died because Kelly gave up 5 runs in the 5th inning.
Oh, shit.
Oh, what's the score?
Now it's 7-0.
Oh my God.
It was 2-0 during the bottom of the 5th, and then the Mets went crazy against Kelly. So
let's go.
By the way, Senga's so damn good. Senga's so good. He's such a good pitcher, man.
Is he top 5?
10 strikeouts.
Is he top 5 in the National League?
I gotta think about that, but he's definitely top 10. He's top 10, not 10. I'll tell you that much. Mm-hmm. Top 5, maybe, but I got to think about that in my head.
Oh, blows my mind a little bit about the Japanese pitchers is don't they use a smaller ball in Japan? The ball's not the same size, is it?
I have no idea.
It's also tough to fully compare because Senga's a rookie and he's about 30 years old, so it's a little bit different. But Senga's
if you've spent 30 years or 25 years, say he's been throwing a ball around since he was 5 with one size ball, that's a completely different skill. To come and play at the highest level, that blows my mind. It obviously can't make a huge difference because he's done it. But just everything absolutely everything you've learned, you've honed your craft over a period of years.
I can't say I knew if they actually used a smaller baseball in Japan.
Yeah,
I know they used a smaller basketball in the WNBA. I didn't know about baseball in Japan.
Japan uses a smaller ball than the MLB. Yeah, I just looked it up.
Didn't know.
It's not like a golf ball. It's of a comparable size. But it just this is elite sport. You take a tiny little thing like that and then ask him to go and throw the sort of MLB batters. And he turns up and he's put the season he has down. I think you see last week he was the third. He had the third best ERA in NL pitchers. Yeah, he's going to have a great season next year. Really exciting to watch. 8:15 Eastern first pitches. The Philadelphia Phillies at the St. Louis Cardinals. Aaron Nola for the Phillies and left-handed pitcher Zach Thompson for the Cards. Lines are. I'm on the wrong page. There they are. Minus 130 for Philly, plus 112 for Thompson. Total is at 8.5, Scott.
8.5 for a total. I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I think I'm going to lean over. I just think this number's a little bit low. I can see each team potentially getting to 4, and in that case, you have an over in this game. But I really didn't have much for this one. I think I am going to lean to the over, though.
So it's an over, short and sweet for Scott. Dylan?
Yeah, I kind of agree on the over as well. But I'm going to actually take a flyer on the Phillies here on the road. I made him a minus 140 favorite with Aaron Nola on the bump. I know him and the Phillies, they've kind of struggled recently and on the road for Nola this season, but Phillies have won 5 of his last 6 starts. I still can't get behind Thompson and the Cardinals. They're 9 games under 500 at home. And the Cardinals just got swept by this Philly team about maybe 2-3 weeks ago. So I think this is a good get-right spot for the Phillies. As for the total, I set mine at 9.2, so I do agree with the over, but I'm going to take the Phillies.
Dylan, we're completely on opposite sides of everything tonight.
Wow.
I've got the Cardinals. Nola's just not doing it for me. He's given up lots of everything, really. 4 of his last 5 have gone way over, so I like that over 8.5. But Zach Thompson's only given up 2 or 3 in his starts. And the Cards have done okay against Baltimore, we already mentioned. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Philly are 500 on the road. So a pitcher who's not been pulling up many trees for a 500 team at minus 130. Again, St. Louis were doing okay. I'll take a bit of a punt with the home puppy, Dylan, to use your words. St. Louis for me are plus 112.
I'm sorry, a pitcher who's not what? You said
pulling
up
trees.
A tree?
What
pulling
is
up
that?
Trees, yeah.
I've never heard of that in my life. What is that supposed to mean?
Jesus.
Pulling up trees. Just a kind of a common phrase, really. It just means who's
Is that like
really
carrying the
things.
load? Is that like the same thing? It's like trees?
Nah.
I don't understand.
I'm Googling it now, yeah.
It can definitely be a saying. I just never heard that before.
It means to achieve impressive and significant things. To say someone has not been pulling up any trees means they have done nothing of note. There you go.
That makes sense.
Okay,
that's
fair enough.
Never heard that in my life. Off the internet. There you go.
I'm gonna have to borrow that at some point.
This show, if it does nothing else, will enrich you culturally, people.
Oh yeah.
Where are we doing? 8:40 Eastern. This will not enrich anyone culturally. The San Francisco Giants at the Colorado Rockies. Keaton Wynn pitches for the San Francisco Giants, and Peter Lambert goes for the Rockies. Minus 176 for the Giants, plus 154 for the Rockies. Total is at 11, Dylan.
Yeah, give me the over 11 in this game. My total came out to 12.2. It's basically a fade of both pitchers. I don't trust Keaton Wynn or Peter Lambert. Both of them give up a lot of hard contact. Their hard hit rate is above 40 in most of their games. Now they're up in elevation. Giants are swinging the bat pretty well, and they've owned the Rockies this season. I think once that bullpen comes in for the Rockies, it's over. They have the worst bullpen in the league this season. And once that opens, I think the floodgates will open. So I just think we see a bunch of runs here tomorrow. So over 11 for me.
Okay, over 11. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with the over here. Wynn's been pretty good, but once again, he is going to course, so you never know how that's going to go. Usually poorly for young pitchers. Lambert has not been good either, so I can't see runs in this one. I don't see either pitcher pulling up any trees, so I'll go with the over.
Very good. Very good.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Immediately, seamlessly slipped in. Scott, I love that. I'm going to take Colorado again because I've been taking them every night and they keep winning. Well, keep winning. There's 2 nights in a row or 2 out of 3. They beat the Cubbies, didn't they, a couple of times? And I quite like Lambert. I've handicapped Lambert for his last 3 or 4 starts, and he never does too much. In minus 176 with a young kid going into Coors is nuts. So I don't want anything to do with that. The total might be an option, but I was happy. I cashed Colorado at plus 163, plus 167, something last night. That was one of the 2 or 3 bets that I landed, so I was happy with that. I'm not going to get away from it. Colorado for me, plus 154. Next up is I keep changing the page to check the scores and then not changing it back. 9:40 Eastern first pitch. The Chicago Cubs at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Friend of the show, left-handed pitcher Justin Steele for the Chicago Cubs. And Brandon Pfaadt goes for the Diamondbacks. Did Dylan just laugh again? Come on, Dylan. It's
I
middle of
have
September.
to.
You have to. If you're going to laugh, at least put yourself on mute if you're going to do your own fart jokes. Where are we? Just in minus 125, the Cubs, plus 108, the D-backs, 8.5 the total. And Justin Steele, I mean, what can we say about him? I know there's a lot of tickets hanging around the network and the D-gens who follow the show for Steele on the Cy Young. 16-3 on the year. Wow, 2.49 ERA. And it's just been unbelievable lately. He's given up one earned run in his last 3 starts, which spans 21 innings pitched, only 14 hits and 3 walks. So, I mean, the whips through the floor. It's been incredible. Brandon Fart is 1-7, 6.25 ERA. He still hasn't settled. He's flashed a couple of times. We were hoping for better things, but 4, 3, and 5 earned runs in his last 3. A couple of short starts thrown in there. The Cubs haven't done great in Colorado. That can happen to teams. But Arizona haven't done great against the Mets either. This was hard to find an angle in, really. Arizona team total under seems a play, obviously with Steele going so well. But I'll just take Steele on the money line. I think if he's not going to give up any runs, and Fart is, I don't know what we're thinking here. Cubs minus 125, Scott.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Steele as well. Tough to really go against him. I do want to congratulate Blake Snell on winning the Cy Young yesterday, so congrats to him. But I am going to go with Snell to once again win the award. But I think that Steele's still going to pitch well, so I'm going to go with Steele. I'm going to go with Steele to pitch well. No reason to go against him. He's been dominant for the last couple of months. They win pretty much all of his starts. Arizona's on the verge of losing to the Mets again, and Fod is terrible. This line just feels way too cheap. I don't really know why the line is this low, so I'm going to go with Steele to get the job done. But once again, I think Snell's going to win the award.
Yeah, I think Snell should send me a bunch of flowers or something for picking against him last night. So that fired him to glory, Dylan.
Yeah, good performance yesterday. I was just looking at the odds for NL Cy Young, and Blake's over a $4 favorite now. So
yeah.
I think you're right. I think he locked it up last night. But yeah, give me the Cubs here on the road on the money line minus 125. I agree, Malcolm. I just think it's a very short price. I made him a minus 150 favorite. I don't know why the Cubs are this short of a favorite with Steele on the mound. Cubs aren't playing the base baseball, but neither are the Snakes. Like Scott just said, they're about to lose to the Mets again. They dropped 3 or 4 from the Mets, and I know the Steele and the Cubs they lost last week to them, but I just think this could be a revenge spot for him and the Cubs. This is a big series for both clubs. The Cubs don't want to lose their spot. They're 2.5, I think, last time I checked, above the Snakes in the NL wild card. Now they have their ace on the mound. The Cubs have won his last 4 starts on the road. Maybe look towards a K prop as well for Steele if it sits around 6.5. But yeah, I got to take the Cubs here with the short price.
Okay, the final game we're going to look at in depth is the 10:10 Cowboy time Eastern first pitch between the LA Dodgers and the Seattle Mariners. Bobby Miller for the LA Dodgers and George Kirby goes for Seattle. It's a tie. It's a match on the books, minus 108 each of 2, with a total of 7.5, Scott.
I think the odds makers are basically daring you to take the Dodgers here because of the better team, and they're getting around the same price as Seattle. But I'm going to lean to Kirby. I think Kirby's the better pitcher. I do think that once again, you're looking at Bobby Miller's numbers this season. They're fine. 3.98 ERA, has been better on the road. Recently, though, he has not been great. He's given up at least 4 earned in 3 of his last 4 starts. I think Kirby's solid. So I'm going to lean to Seattle. I think they get it done. The Dodgers have been in good form, but they have not been in amazing form lately. And I do think that, of course, with the standings and how both teams are situated, the game means a lot more to Seattle than it does to the Dodgers. But I am going to go with Kirby here. I think he's the better starting pitcher.
Okay, so Scott goes for Seattle, Dylan.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the line, to be honest, making it around to pick 'em, but I'll take a shot here with the over 7.5. Just seems like a really low total for a Dodger team that really hasn't had any issues scoring runs. They're averaging 6.6 runs in their last 5 games. Mariners, they're averaging 4.8 runs in their past 5 games. So both teams have been over. Team 7-2-1 toward the over. Last 10 for the Dodgers, 6-3-1 toward the over for the Mariners, their last 10 games. So I think we see a bunch of runs here. Kirby hasn't looked the best, but I do agree with Scott. He is the better pitcher in this spot. Gun to my head for the side, I would lean the Mariners. I did make them a -110 favorite, but I like the over. I made my total 8.8.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Dylan, this one. It was really hard to split both the form of the teams and the starting pitchers. Obviously, the books have struggled to split them as well. But having made my notes before I saw the lines, I've got written down, if I can get it over 8.5, I'm happy to take that. So when I saw it come out at 7.5, I'm absolutely delighted. Bobby Miller has had a bit of a dip. A 4.18 ERA in his last 5, and Kirby a 4.20 ERA in his last 5. Kirby had that sort of teachable moment last time when he was left in what he thought was a little bit too long, and then came in and said a few things that I think he would probably want back. But yeah, he's a young pitcher, and he sort of just spoke with his heart a little bit. Is it Scott Service, the Seattle manager? Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, good knowledge from me. So he came out and said, "Listen, it's fine. You probably shouldn't have said it, but we'll keep it in house." But yeah, 7.5 just too low. I thought I had a first 5 over written down. Both teams can score runs. Both pitchers are giving up a few. 7.5 is a great number. Absolutely love it. Looking around the rest of the board, I wanted to pick out 1 or 2 because even though we're sort of concentrating on the good stuff at the moment, there's always value to be found, or often value to be found, around what we call the bottom drawer of MLB. But I looked around the rest of these games, and it's all horrible because there seem to be, even a lot of them are non-competitive. There seems to be mismatches here. You had Garrett Cole taking on Pittsburgh. The Nationals look overfaced against Miley and the Brewers. You have the Athletics going into the Padres and Seth Lugo. So there wasn't really much that I fancied from the rest of the cards. Scott, did you have a look around? Is there anything that you like the look of?
For the most part, not really. I still would continue to ride the Yankees unders because this team still can't hit and nothing's really changed. Even Judge has not been great lately. You have Cole pitching against Oviedo. I'd probably look at an under there. I think Cole's going to pitch well. Oviedo's good enough to pitch well against this Yankees offense, which has been abysmal for the last couple of performances. I like the under in that game. I think you're going to see a lower scoring matchup.
Dylan, anything else?
No, like I said on Tuesday, I've really lowered my volume. I do maybe like 2 to 3 bets for baseball. So I've actually had more success, like you were saying in the beginning of the show. So I was firing on all cylinders in the beginning of the season when we really didn't have anything to bet. But once football has started, I really died down. So not really, no.
Because there's a lot of these games have got teams that are on my no bet list. You've got the Twins and the White Sox. The White Sox I don't want anything to do with. The Tigers and the Angels. That pitching matchup, Tarek Skubal against Griffin Canning, if this was a couple of months ago, you'd sort of be right into this. I would have loved picking that one apart, but the Tigers have been so underwhelming and the Angels just so frustrating. I'll have a little look at that. There might be some props on either pitcher around that because I do like both pitchers. So yeah, there we go then. Lock and dog time. Dylan, you can lead us off.
I'm going to go with friend of the show. Give me the Cubbies on the money line and Justin Steele. I don't understand why they're this short of a favorite. Like Scott said, they usually win most of his games. Would also look towards a K-prop for him. But yeah, I just think this might be a bad spot. You know, Diamondbacks traveling back home after a game today in New York. I don't like the spot for the Diamondbacks. So give me the Cubs as my lock and as my dog. Didn't really have that much plus price. Are the Mets still an underdog? Do you guys see that or no?
Yeah, well, the even money. I mean, Scott gave out an even money dog last night, so I mean, we're blowing the doors off that. So you're allowed it, Dylan.
I'm allowed.
Scott
All right.
he set a precedent last night. Yeah.
Let me roll with the Mets. Let me keep it rolling here at home. Like I said, they're a tough out. Hunter Green, I completely agree with Scott. I just don't think Hunter Green's a good pitcher at all. Not saying David Peterson's much better, but I do think the Mets bats have come alive recently in the past 5 games. So I'll take the Mets to keep it rolling here at home at even money.
Second consecutive even money underdog.
Oh, relax.
This show's gone to shit. Scott, what have you got?
All right, so for this one, I think for my lock, I actually am going to go to the game I mentioned at the last minute. I'm going to go with the Yankees and Pirates. I'm going to go with the first 5 under at 7. Let me say the first 5 under. Should be at 4 again. I maybe wouldn't mind the full game either, but I'll go with the first 5 under. The Yankees can hit, and Cole should pitch well. Pittsburgh ended up only scoring 2 runs against Josiah Gray, who's in bad form entering the game today. So I do like the under in that one. I'll go with the first 5 under, though. And for my dog, I am going to go with the Cubs, but I will take the run line. I don't know why, once again, this line's so low. Cubs run line's plus 132 on FanDuel. Sure, I'll take the plus 132 with the road team with the better starting pitcher. But once again, I do think that the Cubs are a pretty solid option there. I like the money line too, but I'm going to go for some extra value. I still can't get over that Yankees total at like 7.5 for a full game with Cole on the mound. Like, they can hit. Nothing's really changed. They had one brief spurt with Dominguez in the lineup, and he got injured again. So I'll go with the first 5 under in that Cole-Oviedo matchup.
Okie doke. My luck, right back to the top of the show, the first game, the Atlanta run line, minus 111. 9-1 on the season against Miami and have covered in all 9. Unbelievable. Against Johnny Cueto as well. Yeah, fantastic. What a bet that is. And for my dog, can't stop taking Colorado. Why would you? They keep winning, and they keep winning at huge prices. So let's ride the wave of the Rockies. Plus 154, please, for me. My NFL bet of the night has been given to me by Matthew. So Matthew will reconvene back here later in the week and see if we won or lost. So I'm going to take the over 48.5 is what's going to happen there. Dylan, anything else to tell us before we let the people go?
No, on Tuesday, I winded up going with Chinese. I didn't get the sushi, but today, going Mexican for the game. Got Thursday night football, got college, got UFC, big Mexican Independence Day. That UFC's actually got the T-Mobile Arena instead of Canelo. So should be very interesting this weekend. And then obviously you got City Ground on Monday, kid. Come on.
So you're getting takeout food again, or are you going to collect, or what?
Oh, yeah. I'm an awful cook. I need a woman. I can't cook.
You need a woman. Scott, what's happening?
Nothing much. As I'm going through all the bets that I currently have, I might have a bit too much money on the Thursday night game, so we'll see what happens.
No such thing.
I keep adding prop bets. It's like
that's
I keep
my problem.
Bets, and then I keep looking through, and it's like a friend of mine was like, "Oh, I really like this play," and I'm like, "Oh, it's going to go well with my other 8 plays that I have on the game." All right, sure. So
and then I keep adding them everything. And then I keep adding them in a teaser as well.
It's like a Super Bowl prop sheet. It's like I'm rooting for 17 different things, but at some point I'll probably break even.
It's week 2. Everyone's still quite excited. I'm sure that'll all calm down a little bit by week 4 or 5. Right. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Scott. That was loads of fun. Thanks, everyone who joined us in the chat. I do appreciate it. I feel confident about some of these picks tonight. I'm going to get my numbers back up and keep winning on my dogs. We will be back, or some of us will be, tomorrow. Good luck with all your bets tonight. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.